Hello, you are listening to On the Topic podcast. I'm feeling a little bit rowdy, a little bit excited this week. I'm Dan.
And I am equally swinging from the chandeliers and singing at the top of my lungs. I'm Alex. And yeah, why are we so riled up, Dan? What's just happened at the time of recording?
Oh man, we've just witnessed England beat Germany.
It's coming home. It's coming home.
I'm going to whisper it. It's coming home. Just for effect.
Just say it out loud. It's coming home. I mean, look, we don't want to alienate our German listeners. We know there's a couple out there, so apologies, guys. You had a good game and a good effort, but it's our time now. And that's still probably an unpopular opinion. I can probably get in the sea for those listeners, but no, it's not often we get to this position, Dan. For those who aren't really up to date with football, or perhaps follow the sport, we always usually fall at the feet of our German counterparts. They're very good, aren't they, Dan, usually?
They are very good. And, we're graced. I mean, if you're a Premier League fan, we're graced with some very talented German footballers. Timo Werner, Havertz. There's plenty out there. They're the two that I can honestly remember at the time of recording. I'm sure there's more.
There is more. But, look, sometimes it happens. It happens in 66 and it's happened in 21. And thanks to a good right foot and a header, we're 2 goals ahead and into the semi-finals. Semi-finals? Quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals, yeah.
So I'm getting ahead of myself. So there's 3 games between us and winning it. But, for all intents and purposes, for every English supporter, that was winning the tournament right there. It was our big event. So we're very happy. We're very happy. So apologies if you're getting that vibe off us guys, and for those who don't follow the English team. But no, we're very happy, Dan. But apart from that, what have you been up to since the last recording? Anything exciting, Dan?
I mean, I'm quite skint at the moment. If you listen to some of our previous episodes, I've been going to the dentist. My wonderful dentist, Betty, has now sorted out my tooth and it's got a temporary crown on it. And in mid-July, I'll be getting a proper crown. So it'll look like a nice proper tooth rather than... At the moment, Alex, it looks like someone's just wedged a bit of dry chewing gum on the stub. Is that the best way to describe my current tooth?
Nubbins. Yeah,
the nub.
Maybe.
But otherwise, been watching Loki on Disney Plus, which will be... we were going to do 2 parts, but we're going to be reviewing in full now when the series comes to an end. Got lots of delicious Easter eggs for our listeners that have been watching that series. But otherwise, Alex, not a lot. It's mostly July. Payday tomorrow at the time of recording. And we've got plenty planned. So looking forward to it. What about you?
Good. No, the outdoor world is expensive, Dan. I think we're starting to find. We're spending an awful lot of money in the last year, and doing stuff is a little bit hard on the wallet. But we've had a couple of holidays and trips to London. It's been delightful. But like you, Dan, I've also enjoyed a bit of Loki, the God of Mischief. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that episode. And catching up on podcasts and everything else. A bit of work and stuff. But anyway, won't talk about that. But no, we've got a really exciting episode this week, Dan. This is the 3rd episode, is it, in terms of our South Sea creatives?
Yes, although, I mean, they're not technically South Sea based. They're based in Fareham, which is just up the road. But, I mean, let's call them South Coast creatives. Why not? Another dynamic duo.
Indeed. And, well, do you want to give us a little bit more info about these guys, Dan?
Yeah, of course. So we've got Leah Holford, who recently did an interview with us at the start of the year, which went on to About My Area, Portsmouth.
Oh, yes.
And her other half, Paul Messer Photography, a dynamic duo who are doing some wonderful things together, which I'm sure we're going to find out more about in a second. Leah, Paul, welcome to On the Topic. Just for the sake of our listeners, because I know I'll mess up, Leah's your pseudonym, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
So you're actually Kelly.
I am.
I've known you both for a very long time, and it's an absolute pleasure to finally get you on the show, because you've done a lot of work for us, and now it's time to return the favour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're happy. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm used to being the person doing the interviews, not the one being interviewed. So it's a bit strange for me. But
see, for me, turn the hot seat.
Yeah. For me, I've always I jump in the deep end and just get jobs done. So I'm so
Yeah, he's
used to-
totally cool about
yeah.
it. I've been pacing for the last half an hour.
That's me just chilling.
It's all good. You're in good company.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, apart from work, which we'll sort of dive into in a minute, like what have you been doing the past 18 months? Because it's a bit mad, you know, we're living in the corona apocalypse. What have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
Well, I mean, to start with, we didn't really know what to do. We found ourselves, I mean, Paul's been doing his photography for a few years now. So we were doing that just sort of for fun, really, just to try and get ourselves out of the house, because it became a bit, I think everyone was scared to leave in case we got told off for it. So we didn't know what to do at first, but it has really kind of all been about work for us, because that's when we've merged our two businesses together and started sort of.
I mean, originally, John, the first part of the lockdown, I was doing a lot of the online competitions where they were doing competitions, basically anything and everything to do with the lockdown, but inside your house.
Yeah.
So, I jumped on that bandwagon really just to kind of keep me going with the photography side of things. But as in clientele, I had to put so many people on hold because obviously the lockdown. It was crazy.
It was
to be honest.
hard. It was really hard.
Yeah.
And we also obviously had the 3 kids home from school as well. So trying to get anything that was actually productive done with 3 mini humans running around the house and they were bored and didn't want to do the schoolwork that we had to try and make them do every day. So that made it a little bit trickier at times.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just going to sort of ping a question at you, Paul. I mean, you were talking about doing the competitions and stuff. You're a big fan of Peter McKinnon. Any of our listeners that aren't, or who are unsure of who he is, he's currently doing the Angels and Airwaves documentary, and he does a bit of photography for them as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's Canadian, and I believe he is sponsored by Canon. So,
wow.
Yeah, and that's how I think he gets invited. Obviously, to all of these new, the new Canons that are coming out. The Canon R3, I believe, is the newest one coming out. £6,000. Anyone got the money?
But some small change.
Yeah, I actually I watched Peter McKinnon a lot, realistically, from the beginning, because he does a lot of tips and tricks, not just so much on like the camera side of things, but also the editing side of things as well. So good for newbies and beginners for picking up bits and bobs off Peter McKinnon. 100% recommend him.
And just out of interest, guys, so obviously you talked a little bit about still trying to keep yourself entertained and the kids and doing indoor competitions. We spoke previously with Silent Sky Services and Mike and the gang over there, and how they've managed to, at points, get out and make use of the fact that no one's walking around. Were you able to do that? Were there any shots that you had the ability to be able to do that perhaps you couldn't have done before? Or is it a case?
Yeah, I mean, we did think about doing some. I mean, we took quite a few photos that never actually made it online, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, we've seen the work that Silent Sky Services do, and it's absolutely fantastic. And I think, in hindsight, I wish we had got out a little bit more and taken more advantage of that. But it's finding the time still. Although we were sort of stuck in with not much to do, it was still finding the right times to be able to go out and do it, and sort of balancing everything else as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to get out, especially at the start of the lockdown when the streets were completely empty. I wanted to see that, to be able to show that from a photography stuff. But we never got around and did that. We ended up isolating ourselves really, and we didn't really do anything, to be honest.
Because I'm also a carer for my mum and my nan, and I was very wary about picking up any germs that I could then obviously pass on to them. So I was more cautious than some people, like people without certain health conditions didn't feel quite so worried early on, but I was still very wary of it in case I sort of brought it home to them.
Yeah, but to be honest as well, with the lockdown, it has given us this opportunity because I mean we already were working with local businesses and helping promote their their revenue and their websites, doing small adverts or obviously updating their photos for new products and things. But during the lockdown was when we decided it's quite a good opportunity before businesses start reopening to be able to help businesses promote that.
Yeah.
So, and during the lockdown, you probably have seen it already, but there's so many people obviously losing jobs and things. So they're creating their own jobs. They have to create their own work because they haven't got a choice.
It's been difficult particularly for sort of independent businesses and venues and performers. It's been a really, really tough time, and we just wanted to we put our free time really into helping other people because we know how hard it's been.
But we and we know how to do that. We know how to promote businesses. We know how to promote that. So it gives those people with that disadvantage that we can actually help that and, grow other people if they need that. I think that's really what it's all about, really. I don't even really, it's almost kind of like we just walked into it, isn't it, really? I can't even explain how it happened. It just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you've both been sort of big advocates of supporting those small, local, independent businesses sort of throughout the pandemic, which is, it doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, how's that been for you? And is there, I don't want to tell you to choose a favourite, but is there anyone that sort of stands out?
To be honest, all of the businesses we've worked with have been so different that it's hard to pick a particular one that stands out. But we've worked with sort of retail outlets, venues, performers, sort of everything really. And to see how dedicated they've all been to their businesses and how hard they've worked. They haven't been told, right, you can't open your shop, and they've just sort of said, fine, well, we'll close up and we'll sit at home and sulk about it. They've absolutely worked their butts off to keep their passions and their careers going. And for us, it kind of felt really good for us then to know that we were doing our bit to help. And where we're trying to launch our own business, obviously we wanted to build a portfolio anyway, so it has helped us in return. But our main focus was, particularly some of these people that were actually sort of personal friends of ours, to see them struggling. It was just something we couldn't sit back. We had certain skill sets each there, and we thought, well, do you know what? I've been doing writing, Paul's been doing photography. How can we combine what we've got and help other people? And we've really enjoyed it because it's also led to us meeting new businesses, and we've made new friends throughout that, we might not have been able to meet face to face until now, but there was still that chance to
and I think
explore
also
new things.
I mean, the fact that we have good contacts to be able to help people do that to get recognized.
We've managed to sort of pair off some of the ones we've worked with individually, and they've said, oh, but we really need this, and it's like, well, actually we worked with someone who does that, and we can then put them in contact with each other, which has been helpful as well. So it's it's kind of a mutually beneficial, because yes, we are helping ourselves because we're building our portfolio and we're getting more experience and learning new things that we might not have thought of doing before, like the video interviews, for instance. But we are also, it makes us feel good to know that even if it's just a small part, we're helping our local businesses, so that at the end of this pandemic, we've still got local businesses.
That's it. I mean, when one door opens, another opens as well, and it generally has been like that. It's quite funny, actually. We were talking about this the other day, where originally when we started working for businesses or with businesses, we were making the phone calls. We were calling businesses up saying, would you like some help with promotions, or we can make you small, adverts for your websites or Instagram or whatever. But now it's got to the point it's flipped, and where people are contacting us And I don't even know how that's happened. Like,
No,
it's just
it's
happening.
nice though that we were kind of begging people to let us do things for them for free and saying we want to help you. And there were some that were like, oh, but who are you? Why do we want you to help us? But it is nice now that we're now the ones getting messages and phone calls saying, oh, is there any chance you could help me out with this? And a lot of businesses, even the big ones at the moment, suddenly don't have a budget for promotions anymore because the money they normally have set aside for that has to go to paying wages and keeping things ticking over while it can't be open. And
I think it's good like
changed.
That. I think it's good the fact that they're contacting. I mean, we're technically a local business, so now these bigger branches are contacting us. Yeah. We're just local as we're in Living Ferrum. It's crazy. Nice. Yeah, it's good.
Not too dissimilar from our musician days.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Gosh, that's going back a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's technically where it all started for me in some form, with promotions, obviously, them teaching us to learn how to promote your bands. I mean, I had to even make my own music videos. I actually did 2 music videos with my band, part of my course. So it's all kind of interlinked.
And on that, so you guys were, some sounds like musicians in the past. So not that the arts are too dissimilar. You're in the same kind of wheelhouse, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. But how did you both end up, I guess, doing what you're doing now when before perhaps you were doing something a little bit artistically different?
Well, I think I studied music at college, obviously with Paul and with Dan.
She did always like me then, by the way.
That's a lie.
She did not like me back then.
Here we go. Starting on that one again. But yeah, I always loved writing, but I had plans to become like a music teacher or something to do with music because it had been with my parents were both musicians and I just naturally wanted to go sort of in the same directions they had. My mum then became a teacher, so I thought, well, I could be a music teacher. But I don't know, I always loved writing. I didn't ever have the confidence in myself to think that I could actually make a career from it. So I just sort of let it sit and I'd just do little bits here and there, odd articles. If like there was an event coming up that I was hosting for charity or something else, I'd just do little write-ups for that for local news sites and things, little free sites. And it was only when Paul and I got together and he was just starting his photography. And I thought, well, he's still working, but he's now developing this hobby into what could potentially be a career. Maybe I should try and do the same. And he's been so supportive and encouraging with it that's kind of what made me say, yeah, do you know what? And I've got a group chat. Dan's in my bride tribe, as obviously Dan is going to be the bridesman at our wedding.
That story is out there on one of these episodes.
It is. But I sort of spoke to them about wanting to do writing and that, and obviously they were all like, "Yeah, just do it." So I contacted a few publications in the local area, and a few came back and said, "Yeah, that'd be great." And so mine sort of went from there. And then having Paul as a photographer already, it meant that I could give them these articles with photos as well. So it's, just handing them a finished product and, it was handy. And obviously your photography, you've always had an interest in it.
I mean, I think realistically for me, it actually started with computers. My dad used to build computers. So as like a very young age with like editing softwares and whatever, just computerized, I've always been very good at it. And then with I didn't even have my first camera. The first camera was Ferrum College, I think. Yeah. So long time ago. But I mean, we didn't have camera phones and things back in those days, so we couldn't say But I used to run my own ghost hunting team. So during that time of me thinking, I want to be a ghost hunter, I bought all of this gear. I wanted to have my own equipment. So I bought all of this gear and I learned how to obviously use cameras through doing ghost hunting. And then I was able to edit these videos and the clips and the events. I used to run CCTV cameras as well, and God knows what. So I used to bang it all into a 20-minute, half an hour video and stick it on YouTube. Yeah, so that's how I ended up, obviously with the editing and then obviously the camera work. But I decided I wanted to work for myself, because during the time when I was in a ghost hunting team, we had an opportunity to work with a American ghost hunting team that shows on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing an international one coming over to the UK. And they emailed our team saying they liked our videos. They saw our videos on the internet, liked our videos, and was wondering if they'd basically collab with us, looking for local ghost hunters. And automatically I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. But the team I was with didn't want to go onto TV. Mm-hmm. So to me, that kind of was like a bit of a downfall, because I collected all of this gear, been doing it for a little while. And then this TV opportunity, I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And the guys I worked with wasn't interested. But also, it's almost kind of like the same with being in a band. I'm sure that everyone else understands being the musicians, but like sometimes like you might have a band or a band member who might turn up late for rehearsals, and might turn up a bit drunk for gigs, saying whatever, and it's just turned out to be a mess. And I just got to the point where it's just like, I could generally do all of this stuff on my own and just promote myself on my own. And that's literally how it all came together.
And then it was the night we'd gone down the beach, hadn't we? Because it was going to be there was a big thing about it, because it was going to be like a really pink sunset. So we decided we'd go down and have a look at this sunset. And Paul said he was going to bring his camera. And it was those photos, after he posted them onto Facebook, lots of people started contacting him and saying those are absolutely stunning, like you should sell them and start a photography page.
Before that happened, I was doing shots and sending them over to National Trust, because I used to go to National Trust and just go random places. And so many people would say to me, like, you got the eye, like there's an eye. I don't even know what that means, you got the eye. But anyone can be a photographer. But it's an art form. I think you have your own personal connection with the photo that you're working with. But I don't know. It's just happened, and
I think meeting each other had a big influence on it, because obviously we've got a lot of the same interests. And with me doing the writing, quite often I need photos to accompany it. So that was handy. And sometimes when Paul's approached by businesses that want some little sort of bits of advert work done or some promotional materials, it's handy, because he takes care of the photos and kind of the general design of things, and then I can just provide sort of little write-ups or just general sort of copy for them to have on there. So I
think it's quite nice actually as well. You can go onto my portfolio and you can go right to the beginning of when I first started photography, and you can actually see, or at least I think I can, but you can see the progression of like my work. And I think that's quite good. I think that's quite important as well, to be honest.
So. I mean, so like I'm improving all the time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my techniques I have picked up from YouTube, and I've done masterclasses with the top professionals. My latest one, I can't remember his name now, but the 5th top wedding photographer in the world. I can't remember his name. You can see him. He's on my Facebook page. But I just sit and I just want to learn. I just want to get better. And it's obviously showing.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's the way to do it.
I think that's totally relatable as well. I think if people go back and listen to some of our first episodes compared to now, I think you'll probably sort of see we're more confident, and we've been doing this for 3 years now. So I think it doesn't matter what art form you do, you'll always see that progression coming through.
Yes.
But I mean, you mentioned earlier you both met. I mean, I know how you met, but for our listeners' purposes, how did you meet?
Well, obviously we were all at college together. I think in the time we were at college, we probably said about 3 words to each other for the entire 2 years. It wasn't I didn't like you. We were just in sort of separate circles, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you were quite, I thought you were quite quiet and I might scare you. Dan knows that I was,
You did
well, shall we
scare me.
say, a bit of a wild child.
You were
back then.
terrifying.
And Paul was the quiet one who was always well behaved and turned up to college without a hangover. So, I just...
That's not true.
I
Dan
didn't
knows
think,
that's not
I
true.
didn't think you'd like me. But, for years, there was odd bits of contact on Facebook and things. But I think where we'd not really been in the same social circle at college, there wasn't like a constant connection there. And it was, funnily enough, I'd moved into a house and loads of weird things kept happening in it. And I'd noticed that Paul had this paranormal group. So I contacted him and just said, look, do you guys want to come round and just tell me if I'm going mad or not? Because, we had a lot of strange things happening. I wasn't sure if it was just me imagining it because I just moved into a house, just me and the kids. And I thought maybe I'm just scared because it's the first time being the only adult in the house. And
then you saw me. And was like,
here we go.
Do this handsome chat.
And what weird things were happening? What was it making you kind of question your...
Well, funny enough, I actually sent it into you guys on your paranormal episode, but there was,
yes.
One particular one was my mum was helping me with a little bit of sort of DIY. I'd just moved in. We were trying to get some little bits of furniture built. I'd gone up to use the toilet and I heard my mum call me. And at the same time as I went, pardon, she shouted up the same. And I was like, well, you called me. And she said, no, you called my name. And I was like, well, for a start, why would I call you by your name when you're my mum?
Just me.
So, she'd heard my voice saying her name and I'd heard hers saying mine. And it was very strange. And then a friend of mine turned up sort of 10 minutes or so later to say that I think she was coming in to help with the furniture build as well. And she straight away said that she could see something on the stairs. And she'd always been a big believer that she could sort of not necessarily see it physically, but feel like a presence, I guess.
Yeah.
And we hadn't told her at this point about anything weird going on. And we'd heard a few strange bangs and things. And she walked straight in and within 5 minutes of being there, she said, there's something on your stairs. And, it was just things like that. We'd hear strange bangs, voices that, I put it down to maybe there's a window open and I can hear people outside. But it was just enough for me to think I might be going mad here. So, so that's why I contacted Paul and his team to come round and just have a look for themselves. And thankfully, a lot of crazy stuff did happen that night that we managed to catch on camera. So I was quite satisfied that I wasn't just losing my mind.
Yeah.
And did you stay in the house for long after that? I mean, how comfortable would you be?
I was there for 2 years. I mean, things like that, as much as I do freak myself out with it a bit, I've got a big love for horror films. So I'm often scaring myself to the point that I have to wake Paul up in the night to accompany me to the bathroom. Because I'm too scared to go on my own. But I don't know, being scared isn't something that, but I guess I kind of enjoy it almost. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush. So things like that don't bother me unless, it was to get to a point like you do see on the horror films, and then I'd be out of this house like a shot.
Sadistic. Don't know why you put yourself through it. Don't know why. Just an FYI, sorry, Alex. One of the tribe has just messaged me. It's Gemma. She asked, which one is the weirdest in the relationship?
Good question.
Out of me and Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's not an easy one to answer. We're both
it's probably
weird.
about equal, yeah. You're probably weirder.
I don't know about that.
Live stuff happening there, guys.
You look, right?
I look what? Careful with that sentence.
Anyway, Alex, before I rudely interrupted, what were you going to ask these two?
And save a domestic. No.
No, I am dead. Someone please call 999.
And sure enough, Dan and I have had plenty of those over the years. No,
yes.
I was just going to say, no, I recall the story, actually, now you mentioned it. Well, we did our Halloween episode, and I think Dan and I think we were rather uncomfortable after that recording. I think it was a good hour and 50 minutes, and I mean, Dan's got the experience. We talked about this before, and I think we had voice messages or comments from both of you guys, and after playing that, I think I had to leave the lights on for quite a while longer than usual.
An EVP?
No, it was just the stories of it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we did love that episode because both of us are big into our paranormal and anything like that. We absolutely love. So that was one of our favourite episodes.
Oh, we did back-to-back recordings that night, didn't we, Alex? Because we did the Halloween special and then we did Conspiracy Theories Volume 2. And going into Conspiracy Theories Volume 2, we were just a bit uncomfortable. And it might show if anyone listens to that episode.
But okay, so Paul comes round, knight in shining armour. You're not quite losing your marbles. And then what happened?
Well, I mean, we were friends for quite a while after that, and then we just sort of gradually got closer over the time.
Did you not say to me, though, on that night when I went home, your mum looked at you and was like, no, Kelly, behave, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting college Paul to turn up, if I'm honest. So
I don't even know what I mean.
Well, you were quiet, and I thought you used to.
I got swag. I got swag now.
You were just a lot more confident than I remembered, and I saw you in a different light. And I think we were friends for a while. We spent quite a bit of time together. He likes his horror films as well, so we kind of had a lot in common with that. And we just gradually got closer until eventually we just became a thing. What, sort of 7-8 months later? I think it was in the February, wasn't it?
Something like that.
So it was nice because I think after not being particularly close in college, we were almost sort of getting to know each other from scratch.
Yeah.
But we did sort of have little bits of knowledge of each other from years ago.
Yeah. You remember what I look like?
Yeah. I knew your name was Paul.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history. You got engaged. I put up a joke, and now I'm somehow a bridesman.
Oh, you shouldn't joke with me, Dan. You know this.
Well, I've learned this now. I'm pretty damn sure I'm going to end up being the flower boy at some point.
You're absolutely having some flower petals on the day. Yeah, of course.
100%. I'm up for. I will put 100% into this because I'm such a bad friend. I've accepted I'm never going to be anyone's best man. I'm going to give you the full show.
The hardest thing at the moment, I think, is finding a photographer.
Yes.
I've got contacts if you need any.
Oh, okay.
It's just obviously we both love Paul's style of photography, obviously, and we were trying to find someone that's very similar to him. But I think we are going to download one of those apps where the guests can take photos and then upload them to the app, and then that way Paul can edit them however he wants afterwards.
That's a great shout.
He offered to be the photographer, but I said it might look a little bit better if he's in some of the photos at least.
Top selfies. That's literally the only way we can do it.
Selfie wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, so you guys have been, I know we've sort of digressed a little bit, but you've both had quite a busy year, 2021. Yeah. What projects have you worked on previously? Because you've done some good stuff.
Yeah, well, we started off doing written articles for both About My Area and the Portsmouth News, with obviously I would do the write-ups, Paul would do the photos. And then we'd arranged to interview the author, Christopher Berry-D, who's the #1 true crime author from the UK. And he sort of messaged and said, are we videoing it? And I was like, no, it's a written article. Don't be silly. And then Paul was like, well, that's not actually a bad idea.
I was like, yeah, we are videoing
So
it.
the pair of them sort of talked me into it under the sort of thing of, well, it'll be a written article, but we'll video it just for practice and see how it comes out. And obviously it did come out very well. And About My Area wanted to use it in video form rather than as a write-up. And from there, we sort of found a whole new branch. So as well as the written articles that we're still doing at the moment, we've now added in these video interviews, which are normally with things like venues and performers and artists and things like that.
Yeah, it's very arts orientated.
Yeah, it's been a lot. I mean, obviously being musicians, we really wanted to make sure that our entertainment industry was doing okay. And, if just a small part of that, getting the actual people like the CEOs of the venues and things to come forward and say it in their own words, rather than me writing an article with a few quotes, it gave them the chance to really
it's more
show
personal.
people, exactly how hard it's been. And I think a lot of people were forgetting that the big venues like the Guildhall and King's Theatre were facing the same struggles that the smaller venues were.
Yeah.
But I think people naturally just assume that, oh, they're a big one, they'll be all right. We don't need to worry about them. And, it's just not the case. So we wanted to give them a chance using our skills, but them able to do it, from their own words.
Yeah, just a prime example on that. I know obviously we didn't interview, but the Johnny Cash tribute.
Yes.
Like they struggled because during lockdown, that's a theatre production, but all musicians, the majority of all musicians, like local musicians or tribute acts, not so much obviously big performers who are making millions, but those ones where obviously that's their only income.
Yeah.
As soon as obviously clubs, pubs, all these sort of venues close down, that's it for them. So they're stuck on. Was he on the furlough pay?
No, it went. I think I can't remember. It went down as like one of the self-employment ones. I think it was, and it wasn't a huge amount. Yeah. And especially when a lot of these people, they've got families, they've got husbands and wives and children and pets, and suddenly they're having to survive on sort of barely enough to cover the bills, let alone anything else. It
happened with my cousin.
It was very hard.
Who's a actor. He's performed on like Mayflower and does some other places in London, I think mostly. But he when I was talking to Jeff, who's his dad, he lost his job as an actor, and he ended up teaching on Zoom to be able to bring in income.
Yeah, not everybody qualified for help. The government funding, most people that we've spoken to have said it was an absolute godsend, but not everybody qualified. If they were a new business or certain types of business, and I'm not sure of the ins and outs personally, but I know there were certain businesses that didn't qualify for it. So they've had to do everything themselves. That's right. It's not to say that those that had the funding had it easy, because they certainly didn't. But, there were quite a few that didn't qualify for any of it at all. And then, without any work, we just wanted to make sure we were doing everything we could to kind of keep their names out there and remind people that.
Yeah, I've got a small platform, and you've got a small platform. It's not like it's humongously big. But our name, because of what we've been doing, our name has progressed, which has helped other businesses.
Yeah.
But it is a shame, and hopefully, with everyone's participation, will help. Help in any cause anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's what when we've been speaking to people, that's kind of been the overarching theme, right? As people have been clubbing together and pulling together, and as a community, either physical or otherwise, it's a recurring theme. It's great to hear, and that's kind of where Dan and I kind of wanted to go into this year, speaking to the likes of yourselves in your peer group, understanding and building those networks and just sharing a good message, because people have done some great stuff, and it has been a difficult year and a half for a lot of people.
It's been nice to see the communities kind of all coming together and supporting each other. And I don't think supporting local and supporting the small independent local businesses has never been quite so big as it is now. And I think it's nice to see that people really do care about their local high streets, and it's nice to see.
I've put plenty of money into local restaurants and getting Uber Eats. So this is why I'm about a stone or two heavier than I was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
We all
weight.
Yeah, all right.
We all have our crosses to bear as a result of this lockdown period.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to hear that you guys have at least seen some positives, and hopefully you can continue to experience that. The months and years ahead. And I guess to that point, so it's going to be no doubt when things start to ease up or people become more comfortable about doing stuff, you're going to become busier and busier. Is there anything that you guys can share? Is there anything that you're excited that you can talk around, if not about, that's coming up? Perhaps this might be interesting.
Yeah, well, we've got the company All Things Entertainment run a series of theatre shows that travel sort of up and down the country. We have been taken on by them to cover 3 of their theatre shows.
Oh, wow.
We've got plans to do some shoots with some of the local burlesque performers that we have worked with previously, but to help with some sort of promotions and marketing now that they can get back to it, to just try and help give them some new promotional material to get out there with and get booking again. So, I mean, the theatre shows for us are quite a big one. We've got, we've got some that are recording the actual live shows. We're doing one for Cash Revisited as almost like a mini documentary so that people can get to see a bit behind the scenes of what goes into a theatre show. And
Christopher Kane as well.
Yes, so he's from Bad Manners, played the sax in Bad Manners and did the Jive Bunny.
Music,
so we are going to be working with him on one of his shows as well. So we've got a few things sort of in the pipeline that are looking to be quite big that will help with our aim that, hopefully by this time next year, we will be doing this full time and, we won't have to have other jobs, and this would be our main one instead of like our sort of side hustle.
It is difficult because we're putting our book out more and more for dates, and it's trying to swindle between days that I'm at work.
Well, we've had weeks where we've had nothing at all, and now we're on to the point where July is now completely fully booked for us. We've got nothing left in July. August we've got a few in, and we've got some coming up towards September, October time. But I mean, the main goal is that we will be able to do this full time by next year. I mean, everything we've been doing recently has been free of charge because we didn't feel that, with local businesses struggling and some of the bigger ones we've worked with, because we were trying to help them and boost them, and, no one's got it easy at the minute. We didn't feel right asking them to pay for it. We wanted to show our support by doing these things for them. So everything we've been doing so far has been completely free of charge to try and help our local businesses. So, the aim is next to start getting some of those paid jobs in so that we can make it a career.
I did that competition at the start of the lockdown, near enough, maybe the third month. To pick a certain amount of people who want their portraits done. And I should really get back onto that because it's obviously a very long time ago now. And now obviously we're coming back out. I should realistically contact them.
I mean, things are starting to open up again now, which means we'll be able to get back to doing the events, which is, out of everything we do, I think the events is our favourite one because, we love going to the live music and any kind of live event. We absolutely love it. So for us, getting to be a part of it by working it as well is an extra bonus. So we are so excited to be able to start getting back out to, the comedy nights, burlesque music, all of it. It's
we've got a wedding coming up as well.
Yes, we have. So we are going to start looking at going into wedding photography as well.
You're very popular.
I'm sorry.
I wish I got that many messages. So, I mean, that sort of really wraps up for our questions, but we did get a couple of questions from our listeners through the power of social media.
We do.
Okay.
So the first question is, I mean, these aren't awkward. These are genuinely very good questions. And I saw them, I thought, spot on. First one is, biggest challenge in setting up a new business and what are you most proud of so far?
That's a good one.
I think the biggest challenge was earning the trust from people because, when you set up from nothing, we'd been posting little bits online that we'd done as hobbies. And it's just, you're asking these people to trust you with their business and their brand. And, I think it was making those initial contacts that was the most challenging part because, we had to kind of sell ourselves and tell them why they should trust us. And, from that, we've managed to make the extra contacts. But it was getting that initial lot of work done, I think, that was the hardest.
Getting your foot in the door first. Because the references will build up. So it's getting your foot in the door first. I mean, for me, and the reason why I wanted to go or wanted to do burlesque was because I wanted to do and concentrate on portraits. So with burlesque performers, I was thinking to myself, burlesque performers, there's potentially 7 or 8 different acts that's potentially 7 or 8 different people individually. And then that can progress into something else. I mean, that's actually happened. I mean, the first ever burlesque show, one of the girls who was performing lived in London, and I got invited up into London to do their show. So, it's just once one door opens, another one opens. So yeah, you just kind of have to push yourself to do that and to do more. Also as well, it was easy for me to shoot men in portraits, but I really wanted to concentrate on women, and it's very difficult as a guy to have that trust as well. So again, it's good to build up that portfolio. It's good to have that reputation, where sort of like in all sexes, it doesn't necessarily matter all sexes.
But we did have a few girls that contacted saying they had bad experiences with photographers. So it was about trying to offer them comfort as well, that they knew everything was above board and professional.
I mean, some people come back to me and said, funny enough, the first burlesque show I did, this was a good few years ago now, but the first burlesque show I did, they actually paid a photographer to go, and I emailed her name's Dominique. She runs the Burlesque by the Sea. And I messaged her just on the fluke saying, I really want to obviously photograph your show. Would I be allowed? And she actually came back and said, yes. I was generally quite shocked, but she did say to me that there is another photographer in which they are paying. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. I want to do it for free anyway to build up my portfolio. And our relationship has grown since then. But that day, the photographer never even gave them any photos at all, not one photo.
Oh,
and
wow.
they paid him. Yeah, they paid
That's
him.
shocking.
It's crazy. Yeah. How does
I don't know how people can do that. No.
So I mean, it's that's why I want to have that reputation. I want to be able to build a good rapport. It will come easier and natural for us, and it's growing and it's good.
Second question, where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
Oh, that's a killer question.
Miami?
It's like an interview, isn't it?
Yeah, I think our main goal at the minute for short-term goals, we want to be in a position to get an actual studio. Because at the moment, when we get portrait bookings, we've got to look at hiring venues to take the shots, or we've got to find an outdoor location that suits whatever we're doing. And it can be quite tricky. Obviously, bearing in mind budgets and things as well to find the right place. Whereas if we can have a studio base, not only can we get the sort of the monthly incomes from general portrait work and studio-based shoots, but it means that when we've got specific shoots coming up, we'd be able to do it all out of the studio.
Especially with not obviously just local community, but professional models. They have to travel from certain locations around the UK. I mean, we've got one booked up with Sugar Rush. She's a German model, but she lives in London. She's German.
I can't remember.
And we're now meeting her up in Essex. So we have to book a venue up in Essex. So I'm like, I mean, she did say to us she doesn't mind traveling down. But this is why we're eventually in the future we're going to be looking at getting.
We just want a kind of base so that when we've got shoots booked in, we know where we're going. We don't have to worry about having to, our worry is messing people around, because if they contact us and say we really need to do it on this date, but then we've got the issue of, oh gosh, can we find a venue that fits for that date? It becomes like a challenge then. And then that's me sat at the computer and on the phone for hours, getting more and more frantic by the minute while we try and book something. So I think the ultimate goal for the minute is just to have that studio base so that, we've got that sort of safety net there, that we've always got somewhere to work without having all the extra hassles.
I'm definitely going to be working and concentrating a lot on YouTube soon. I think I've been thinking about it for some time. Like I might be able to start doing things like tutorials, or even just on our days out when we go and meet these people. Because I mean, a lot of the stuff that we do is very unique. So it'd be cool to do blogging, like video.
Yeah, we are going to look at developing I mean, we've got a YouTube channel with a few little bits on, but we don't use it as much as we should do. So I think building more of an online presence is a priority at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, everything has built up through social media. And I think I can instead of hitting the video straight onto my pages, I could just do it through YouTube and do it through one hit. But yeah, so that's an idea. Someone said to me the other day I should do TikTok.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. I'd have to ask my kids how to use it.
But I'm feeling our age.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah. But funny enough, there's a lot of creative photographers through TikTok.
Yeah, I think a lot of places are using TikTok now, aren't they?
It's a good community to be able to learn tips and tricks.
Yeah, I've just found Reels. I sound like an old person now. On Reels on Instagram, and I think
I've seen that.
And a lot of people are sharing. So it does sound like it might be a good form. I mean, you guys have already got a presence there. Which I guess might be an easy step over to do that.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, sort of like we're very obviously Portsmouth based, and I think also we're looking at expanding that. So at the moment, yes, it's still very good that we're building a portfolio in Portsmouth because that's our main sector. That's where we want to be. But I think once we've got that, I mean, we were looking at the Daily Echo, joining up with the Daily Echo.
Yeah, obviously living in Fareham, we're kind of in the middle of Portsmouth and Southampton. So I think we were going to look at going the other way as well and contacting that way and just trying to, we do want to grow our business and not just be in the one area. We would like to work. I mean, we've got some of these theatre shows are based in Essex and Cambridge. So we're starting to get a bit further out now.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds like that 5-year plan's going to come together nicely.
I hope so. I really do.
Dream.
Yeah, it'd be cool. And also getting the new Canon R3, which is $6,000.
$6,000. That's going to be the source of many arguments in the months to come.
Maybe for
business
Christmas.
loan.
I'll tell you what. Actually, my 5 years, it would be awesome to get sponsored by Canon if you're listening. But sponsorship or
someone who'd like to invest a hefty amount in our studio.
I mean, we're looking at investors.
Yeah.
Possibility just to give us that extra push.
Yeah, but that is something we are going to look into.
Yeah. But I think it's good.
Well,
it's
look,
kind of a connection.
Lots of ideas.
If I had the money, I would absolutely 100% plough in. I genuinely would. I'd need to find a winning lottery ticket first.
Well, I mean, another thing is as well, I mean, I have this opportunity to do the exhibition in Portsmouth Guildhall. So another shout out, thinking about it, I am looking for local bands that are either doing gigs or at least doing their band rehearsals because I can make it look like a gig.
It's any local performers, really. Not just bands.
But I'm saying bands included because I've had a couple of bands contact.
Yeah.
So, I'm building that up because eventually I would like to sell my own portraits as well.
Yeah.
So
but obviously if they, because we need these photos for the exhibition, they will also get copies of the photos for free as well. So
yeah, anything that obviously goes up in the Guildhall for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Exciting times. Well, look, thank you both for joining us. I know it sounds like you've got a busy schedule, so it's been an absolute joy to have you on the show. Before you go, can you tell our listeners where they can find you and give you a follow?
Well, both of us are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Mine's at It's Leah Holford.
Yeah.
And Paul's is Paul Messer Photos, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah. Paul Messer Photos at gmail.com.
Yeah. And we both have websites. So Paul's is paulmesserphotography.com and mine is It's Leah Holford at wordpress.com. Oh God, I can't even remember that.
Sounds like Dan.
Put my name in, I'll be there somewhere.
Yeah. To be honest, you can literally now type Paul Messer or Paul Messer Photography in Google and all of my stuff comes up. Literally everything.
You've made it when you're on the Google search.
Yeah.
It's real.
We'll drop the details in the description below.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, an England one.
Yeah, well done. It's been a good day.
Yeah.
It has been a good day.
Yes.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you. And that was Kelly, aka Leah Holford, and Paul Messer Photography. And they
Yeah.
were an absolute delight to have on the show.
Yeah, great natter. It's nice to have people on the sofa again, and I think we were just saying a couple of seconds ago off air, Dan, that it's nice to have a mix of conversations. Nice bit about what they're doing, about their insights, about their background, and the things that make them tick. And it's a nice conversation. It's good to hear how people have been getting on for the last 18 months and done some really good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And it was interesting to sort of hear just how much of a struggle it is in the creative and the entertainment industry as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can totally relate as, I guess we are performers in some sense. You know, we've said it before in previous episodes, how we've had to adapt to recording from home. And, you know, hopefully not long now, Alex, you know, we're both double jabbed. Obviously we'll be sensible when the day comes and hopefully we'll get in the same room again. I found out the microphones work.
Oh, brilliant. That's hot off the
is.
press news. Good.
It really is. So, Alex, what we got coming up next?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, Dan. So we've got our Loki season review. We were going to cut into two, but actually, with the way things are, actually, we can do one good fell swoop, one episode, and give you all of it in one go. So we're looking forward to that, and that'll be in about 3 or 4 weeks. I threw something out there, Dan. I reckon we might be able to do a What Grinds My Gears or Get in the Sea. What upsets you? What should be destined for the deepest, darkest depths of the sea? What should never see daylight again? What irritates you? It could be unpopular opinions. We've done that before. It could be anything. Have you got anything that come to mind, just so the listener kind of knows what we're getting at, Dan?
Oh, that is a good
spot.
Good question. You put me on the spot, and I'm sure when I was thinking about this episode earlier, I've had several things come to mind, and now I'm starting to sweat. My palms are a little bit sweaty. Tell you what belongs in the sea, Alex. Treading in catsick with your bare foot. Yeah, it's not a great experience. So yeah, that belongs in the sea.
Yeah, so that's very niche. But if you know what Dan's talking about, then perhaps something like that can be destined for the bottom of the ocean. But anything that grinds your gears, upsets you, it could be sayings, it could be TV programs, actors, it could be the British weather,
food.
Could be food, it could be anything and all above. So get in contact. It's wide ranging. What grinds your gears? What should be destined for the sea, and get in contact. And we're going to have some other bits and pieces aside from that. But those are our initial hit list, Dan. And I'm looking forward to those for sure.
I say our back catalogue seems to sort of grow more and more every time we sort of come up with an idea. But, if people want to get in touch, we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at On The Topic Pod. And we've got Gmail, which is onthetopicpodcast@gmail.com. And the one I can't remember, Alex, is our WordPress, which is quite new.
Yes, our brand new website is On The Topic Podcast, all one word, .wordpress.com. That's On The Topic Podcast.wordpress.com. On there is our mugs with some words, episodes, so you can actually stream from WordPress and listen to the episodes if you're not too sure about what platform to use. It's all there for you. But go have a look, have a scroll, and yeah, we've got some brilliant episodes from back catalogue to pass the time if you're still working from home or walking now to work or just wandering around where you live to pass the time. We've got some great stuff for you to listen to.
And of course, if you want to be a part of the show, we've got Anchor. If you follow our socials, I'll always put a link in most of our posts. Just click the link. It will ask if you want to accept your microphone. And of course you do, because you want to send us a voice message.
You do. And you can be part of the show. So get in contact. Don't be shy. And yeah, we're looking forward to hear from you as soon as you can. But no, been a good episode, Dan, a good week. Really enjoyed that. And of course, the England win under our belts made it all the sweeter.
Definitely.
So with a lot of national pride. And I'm off now to sing the national anthem. I've been Alex.
And I'm going to go and blare out Sweet Caroline outside my window. I've been Dan.
And we'll see you next time.